Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. This is ETF2L Season 34. This is the pre-season. This is our Prem qualifiers. And this is the finals. I know what you're thinking. It feels like it just only started a couple of days ago. And we're already at the finals. We have the bus crew versus the Karnax team. And then some French words I'm not going to try and pronounce. I am eepily. DuMmTm is hit as well. And we have ArchRhythm. You know, that guy who does land things. He's doing online things right now. Look at him. He's all cheerful, going to be whispering in our ears. But the more important guy is Dum. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good. You mentioned it's a short qualifier. Usually we have a lot more teams and also like a lot more slots to take away for the teams. This time it's a lot more confined. Surprisingly many teams in some form or another stayed live. Granted, a lot of roster shuffling going on as rumors have it. But bottom line is 7 teams like stayed together in some form or another. And even the last team that called technically demoted, which is Karnax team right here, still stayed alive as well despite the roster shuffle. So basically everyone stayed alive, and there's only one slot to take away. Yesterday we had Basku taking on the gatekeepers and gatekeep them back into Div 1, where they apparently now belong. And Basku wants to take a shot at Karnax here and seeing what they can do against 2-season 8th place. Last season was surprisingly close for them. They like lost like half the games with like 1 round difference or something like that. So very unfortunately, like barely got any points out of that, but close games for them all around. Basku obviously has been around in some form or another. Slightly different roster, but they want to be back here and they need to prove it once again.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I know, if nothing else, the one thing I know about these pre-season qualifiers is that there are 7 current teams in Prem, and there's 1 slot remaining for teams to get. So that's what we're going to be seeing happening here. I feel like as much as we usually don't tend to all that frequently go through some rosters, I feel like it's worth doing that, even if it's just quite quickly, because this is a very different looking bus crew to what we've seen of old. I mean, firstly, there's no Yon, right? Secondly, your boy Nasboy is playing online. What's that about?
I mean, he plays a lot online, but yeah,
and
exactly.
It's online.
He usually is just around Tier 2 center, or since that bad on PugChamp for like the longest time. He played like, I think the last time I can remember him playing ETF2L was him winning low, coming straight out of Tier 2 center, and then just resuming his career back on PugChamp. But yeah, he's here, he wants to play. It's hard to believe, but there he is playing Devilman for the bus crew. Otherwise, you have Mathis as well, not like the staple player for the team, but he's been around. He's shown himself in Prem and shown himself as capable. What comes to mind is like 2 seasons ago, the Feint roster that he's been part of, managed to get 4th at Copenhagen Games. And otherwise, you have known quantities like Alba, for example, leading the team, bringing back the old roster more or less as much as he can, with Ixi joining him on Scout, Martin back on Medic, who tends to go on the God these days, but I think Martin sounds a little bit, less impactful, so I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, I think he was God for a while, then I think he stopped. I think he got bored of being God, so
boring,
we're going to keep calling him Martin. It's not going to feed his ego too much. He's good, but he's not all that good. On the side of the Frenchies, the Karnax team, we have basically the same roster as last season, but instead of, I believe it was Mula they had on Medic before, now they have brand new player Delhi, which I don't know a lot of the French players.
He used to play with them back in Div 1 on Devilman, so they have experience with him. He either took a break or didn't feel up to the task for Premiership, whatever it was. They obviously shuffled around a bit for the past few seasons. They always do. It's like the classic all French team thing, right? Like you always have the same roster. It's always a different lineup though anyway.
Yeah, like constantly. That's like their gimmick. That and every other game they just change.
Olga just wants to complete his bingo card, but has him play every class in Prem. So Medic is this season. Everything else he basically played already. And yeah, also we can't forget Poison on the Vasco, a staple player as well for the roster. Has been around with them when the team didn't exist. He played on some of the teams like or Electro last season. But everybody is well aware of Poison, I think, at this point, being a very capable player for the Vasco's side here. And the Frenchies shown themselves fairly capable last season, but still not quite enough, and they can't afford another close loss. So Div 1 it is again, which, looking at Div 1 this season, is by no means much less threatening than the lower end of Prem by any means. So no matter which way it goes for either of these teams, it's not going to be an easy season, but everybody wants to get the shot at the big boys here, and that's what it's all about, I think.
I'm going to ask a very important question here, right? Because when I saw Olga threatening to play Medic, I took it as like just trying to mess with people because they do constantly change things. Is that in fact definitely what their roster is going to be?
Yes. Olga will be playing Medic, Delhi will be on Devilman, and everything else is basically what it would seem like, right? You have Karnax and Alien on the Scout classes, and Duo and Draft on the Sorties.
Fair. I mean, I can respect that. I have heard stories that if you play every single class in ETF2L officials and then message the head admins, they will stamp your card and give you a free Costa coffee. So
Well, back in my day, they gave you a free Cooler Master headset or whatever.
back in the day. All right, I feel like we're going to be going live pretty soon. Might be time to get into some predictions. We obviously saw a pretty crazy game yesterday on Gullywash, a absolute giga comeback, which is pretty interesting. But obviously, this is it's a very very different situation. We're against some Prem veterans this time, against at least arguably a stronger roster. Do you think we're going to be seeing the bus crew have success here?
It's going to be really close, I think. I don't think it's going to go 2 maps. I think we will seal 3 at the very least, and like none other than that. I don't think this will be fairly one-sided whatsoever. Vasco have the talent. They just need to find themselves. The Frenchies have the cohesion. They just need to find it like in the heat of the moment. We remember the land performance, right? Like a really weak day one. They struggled a lot, but they switched things up for the second day. And just like this year, they're switching things again up with the classes, and it worked for day 2. They beat arguably different bus crew, but bus crew nonetheless at LAN. So, if there's anything to go by, they can do it, but it's not going to be easy either way. That was also, I think, best of 3 going to 3 maps.
I feel like for some reason, my head's kind of thinking, the Frenchies, like they played with each other so much, like they've actually got like giga team cohesion, and they're all kind of really good at a variety of classes. It kind of makes sense, but for some reason, my heart keeps thinking bus crew's going to at least start off by winning this first map. For some reason, I'm kind of feeling like, I don't know, maybe they're going to just like hit some more of their shots. Like when I look at their roster, to me, the players just seem a little bit scarier on a map like Gully, where so much can come down to like some individual plays on mids. I feel like if they can get a couple mids early on, get a couple rounds, this should be Bus Crew looking pretty good. Like I'm gonna go ahead and give my map 1 prediction to Bus Crew. Not we ain't gonna see no 5-0, but like a couple round difference.
All right. Speaking of maps, we can just quickly mention which maps we'll be seeing today, which is after Gullywash, Snakewater and Sunshine as a decider in this order, which is interesting. I have the map pick process in front of me. It is Alba banning product, so they don't want to play Corp, which is interesting because the Basque always seem pretty decent on it. Raft banning Granary, which is presumably fair, picking Gully, so this is the French map that they wanted to play. Granted, it's Gully, so it's like a fairly even map either way, I would imagine, for most teams. It's like, one of the big 3, basically. And Snake afterwards from the Basque, and between Process, which Ragnar got banned by the Basque, between Sunshine and Process. Raft banned Process, wanted Sunshine more of the 2, so that's the lineup we have here, and it's going to be interesting. It's like safe maps at the beginning. Sunshine is going to be interesting, I think. I think Sunshine is really going to decide it. That's like, I mean, I always say like Gully, Snake, Process are like the big 3 that like everybody's like close enough on to the point where it usually doesn't make too huge of a difference. Some teams are like much better or much worse than others on those 3 maps still, but overall they're like the most 3 even maps we have for most teams, just because they've been around forever. They're the most popular, stuff like that. Sunshine's going to make the biggest difference, I think. If that was an earlier map, that would have been like a huge momentum thing for your team, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, so much less set in stone, and as much as we played Sunshine in Europe for like a billion seasons, it just plays completely differently to a lot of other maps. Like people kind of equate it to Process, but it's significantly different enough. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like any team which can get a kind of 1 map advantage right at the start is going to be looking pretty good. And the easiest way of doing this is going to be to do it in 2 maps, but I just feel like that's just going to be too difficult. But like I said, this is the Frenchie pick, so if Bus Crew can manage to like go into it winning the Frenchie pick, they're going to be like feeling hot. And Bus Crew is always a team which historically is like, they've been like a hype-based team. They've still got a lot of those same players, so they might just be able to like start the train on going and just kind of pound their way through.
This is going to be interesting on the demo department, right? We talked about Delhi, we talked about Nasboy, and this is like arguably the demo map because it's just the least bad one, basically, for demo man out there. And it's going to be proving ground for Everton. Delhi obviously has been around with that team and on Div 1 like high-level play for sure. But playing a team like Basco will be a different experience, and for Nasboy as well, who also has been around to some variety, but obviously, again, not on this like high caliber of coordinated play. Parksham has maybe all of the same players, but with much less cohesion, with much less tryharding. So it's going to be interesting to see how these 2 especially fare up against each other here, how the teams play around them as well, because I can't like draw any comparison to how they played previously with other demo man, because it's just completely new players here.
Well, completely new, and this is gonna be it. Let's find out exactly what's gonna happen here. This is our Season 34 preseason Prem qualifiers. This is our beautiful Karnax team versus the Bus Crew here, going to our first map on CP Gullywash. We're gonna be just watching a little bit about these demos early on. It's always really important for them to get some early spam, get at least a little bit of vision. No one's doing anything too crazy so far. Poison jumping super deep, nice and deep, all the way down low, getting a lot of damage, but he does get cleaned up. The damage is good for the side of the Bus Crew, but no raw frags as of yet. We see there's not quite getting these jumps in. We do see the Frenchies though backing super far back right now. They're all the way towards that choke. They're playing with their heels, but unfortunately neither of their scouts are really anywhere to be seen. They're starting to get just a little bit picked apart here. You do see Karnax trying to push forward, not really with his beam though. He's just trying to take these 1v1s, and actually they're somehow managing to win this here. Alba now all the way towards connector, and somehow Frenchie's winning that first mid.
Yeah, it's the way they like to play this mid. Just two solis really aggressive early on and then try to commit later. They didn't get heals for so long down the low ground, so it's really surprising that they got it still in the end with the recommit, but the solis actually being down. The Basque just made the impact, I think, where the threat of low solis on the low ground was still just enough to scare them away once they recommitted trying to get onto the point again. It was fortunate with how that worked out for the Frenchies, but they managed to pull through. We'll get this Uber into last here. We'll have to test with gun and pyro. Scary setup on last as always. Pyro can deny stuff onto the gun for a long time, and even just onto his combo depending on what's necessary, so the Basque will need to find a way through this hold here.
Yeah, we are seeing, it looks like it's going to be a nice easy river push. One scout already getting a nice flash going through lower, making sure there's no stickies there. We see both scouts trying to get onto this demo man. Oh, they're absolutely crushing behind point. Now 2-3 picks all the way the way, Frenchies. Both scouts are trying to get the point, but there's nothing they can do. Frenchies taking one swift, easy round here.
Yeah, that's just the difference. Having played together for quite a while makes everybody just knew what to do. They immediately had Scout under point, Scout flashed onto the point, so they can pinch up people that are trying to block the point. The demo and the Soli here specifically, trying to just save that one. Completely destroyed while the demo and the Solis just take space, deal with the gun for everybody else to have an easy time here. So well done by the Frenchies.
Looking a pretty good start right now. We'll see if they can manage to do this again. Like I said, peculiar mid fights, and we'll see the same kind of thing again. This time again. Oh, the French soldiers going super deep, getting some decent damage, but both getting cleaned up by Mathers here. Now a third frag onto Karnax and the Frenchie combo. They are all the way gone, backing all the way through, but the flank is in from Big Door right now. It's so scary. You get a medic on the side of Frenchies. Olga, he's actually trapped with the rest of the team towards choke, and we do see Poison jumping in. He actually manages to split Olga all the way from his team. Yeah, there is no way. Surely no way he managed to get out of it. He's actually towards Big Door. No one's seen him. He's going through lower. No, he's going to get cleaned up now. Nice and late on that frag as well. So as much as the Bus Crew didn't get anywhere near capping the point, I mean, they have uber advantage, and Olga's still dead for another 8 seconds.
Yeah, not finding there was a huge gamble, and clearly there was no way it could pay off. They can cut off every exit. Alien Smiley getting some frags there on Sniper could at least help a little bit if he gets another one before the push comes into last, because Poison probably will spawn in time. But yeah, it just didn't work out, and yet again, the French aggression is slightly getting adjusted to by Bus Crew here on the mid. The double Soli bomb is just being realized, and worked against pretty well. Did less this time, got the demo, but not much else. I keep calling it the callback when you do that on Gullywash mid as a Soli, you're just instantly going for the demo, but maybe it's just a French way to do this here.
Maybe, that's just their gimmick. Well, going to be going all the way through Shutter here on the side of the Bus Crew, taking down that gun nice and easy. Really good position towards top right, but no frags as of yet. Stickies, all importantly, all towards point as well. So this is going to be really hard. But they're trying to cross on the left-hand side. They're actually getting multi-hit themselves. Karnax absolutely owning on Heavy. He's taken down 2 almost all by himself. And their Frenchies are looking to push out now. So nice and clean there. What a perfect little hold.
Yeah, like, they had the pressure out from the right side. There was basically nothing left, and everybody just set up left side on the French perspective of this last hold here, and they had so little pressure onto them. You need much more damage to force them back, get some space to be able to get people onto the point, but it never came through for the Bus Crew, so big difference already in quality of the last pushes here. Let's see if they can follow through with that into mid.
Yeah, they have got themselves a nice little advantage here, but they've got to be quick. Oh, disaster. Delis is getting absolutely owned. No Uber gets used there, so it's not that bad. Olga, he's desperately trying to kill himself, my man. Okay, he does use his Uber, but Martin's got his already. None of this should really matter too much. This one frag from Dwo is going to be decent, but he's going to get cleaned up as well. The chase should be on now towards the choke point, but actually the Bus Crew, they've just realized they're 2 players down. They can't really be looking at continuing, and honestly, the repush from the French team might actually be looking pretty good here.
Yeah, they have Demo Man here. Nasboy and Choke is just such a big hurdle to overcome, and he just keeps pumping stakes into the small area there, and it just makes it so hard for anyone to contest. So the fact that Delhi got more or less dropped. I think he didn't die to the sticky trap, but he died jumping afterwards. Made such a big difference. He's just now back up and busy trapping things off to prevent more people from doing any plays, because at this point they can't really recommit anymore. It's dead even with how the Uber exchange went. Obviously, you mentioned just 2 picks traded basically back and forth, and it didn't have any major consequences, so it's a full reset. The Frenchies took a chance there. Stuff like that can work out, but they desperately needed a demo pick more so than anything else, I think.
Yeah, they did. It really was just the fact that Nasboy ended up in that choke point. He could spam those stickies, deny things entirely, because that's kind of the role of Demo Man. Really, I don't know, solid kind of calm, kind of a patient play on the side of the bus street there, just to kind of, have confidence holding that choke point. Some other teams may have got a little bit scared, but we do see Poison digging a little bit deep towards the choke point. He wants to just get some idea of what's going on. We do see Belly playing quite a lot towards Big Door. Both these French soldiers will be on the choke. We're going to have stickies towards Big Door, and Scouts kind of playing somewhere in between. So, might be a little opportunity. Yeah, the bus crews feel like it's a bit of an opportunity for them to move through Big Door. Obviously, if they can clear these sticky bombs and start taking some position, they can at least open it up and then drag some more of these French players towards Big Door to maybe get someone through choke. There's a decent amount of options you can do, especially when Delhi's willing to play all the way to this right. It's actually a little bit scary. Yeah, Delhi's just taken a lot of damage. If they can get that pick just for free, it would be an absolute crumble for the French defense.
Yeah, need to be careful about that for sure. And I mean, as much as it's a risk for Delhi to do, he just wants to make dead sure that there's nothing going behind him. Like, always put pressure onto Victor. So that's his idea on his perspective here, to make sure no one gets behind. Don't have the threat of anyone in the backlines to just pop in from yet another angle where it's already annoying enough to deal with both Joker and Victor at the same time. So they want to just make sure that doesn't happen in the first place. Like you said, can't afford to take too much damage, and the more he does, the more he has to commit for the pack, because obviously Olga is wanting to play this high ground here, so it's just a tough decision to make, and the moment he commits for the pack, it just becomes a little bit more risky every single time.
We do see Buskery now walking a little bit towards Big Door. They've actually not quite checked the stickies, and Nasboy's going to pay for it. Ixie as well getting picked up, so 2 quick picks. Team Karnax going to be looking to bust right through this choke, but they know Nasboy nowhere to be seen. They're going on a walk all the way through here, getting some decent damage towards Poison and the rest of his chums. Poison's actually dropped down to the floor. He might be going for some kind of sack attempt, or I don't know, this is a little bit
completely bodied in the meantime with Victor. Just caught 2 air shots from 2 different sollies. The exchange just continues on the point that they were looking for so long. But that pick was the initiator, it seems, and they're just all flooding in and just forcing them back very efficiently here.
Really efficiently. I thought that was turning a little bit scrappy, but I mean, it's been working for them. And actually, if they can stack this a little bit, we do see Matters get this ward spawn. So if there was a situation where he didn't manage to get that, they could have possibly started to walk through just based on their kind of soldier advantage. But there's still opportunities. This spawn is just only coming in towards Big Doors, where they're looking for the minute. But I mean, the immovable object that is Nasboy is there, and I feel like they're just going to back up a little bit.
Yeah, and you can just see both their moments having the same idea here, just denying the Big Door area, much more so than choke a lot of the times. Which is always interesting, right? Like, if you look at like lower level gameplay, it's always like, oh yeah, the demo plays choke, right? But the higher you go, the more you have to like apply counter strats to what's actually happening in terms of playmaking. So the demo and Big Door a lot of the times make a lot of sense, but Dro also making plays with people rough, just busting through choke. Opportunity taken where the demo was lacking there, and just as I say that that's a play to make for the demo man, it just immediately gets counteracted. So counter strats for the counter strats.
Yeah, I'm feeling this. I mean, they've managed to build themselves up a massive Uber advantage. They can even start looking to walk to try and take this for free. Yep, shooting these stickies away. They see Poison's jumped away. Raph taking that excellent space. He's getting all that vision, so they know where both soldiers are at this point. They know where one scout is. It's looking nice and clean as long as Olga can just keep on delaying. He's almost delaying a little bit too much, but I mean, the bus crew, they're just so scared of getting caught by this Uber. I feel like almost just not being able to see that meta kind of made him a little bit scared. Possibly something made with the stickies! From Nasboy, people aren't checking their doorways. Surely they can't just push with 2 down, especially when it's a soldier and demo. Oh, what a wasted opportunity there.
Yeah, and it's not the first time this happens. Remember the mid-fight just a minute ago as well, so just a few opportunities taken too hastily, and suddenly it's just all back to having to hold outside, waiting for players to spawn and giving up this nice Uber advantage that they built themselves up here. So gun up, Uber even, it's going to be hard to approach again, and it's by no means not possible, but it just takes so much longer, and they're already down around here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for the bus crew, but I mean, from a Karnax point of view, you're not too sad about that, right? Like, losing those players, it's like, sucks, we couldn't get our second round, but at the same time, they have a round advantage, it is equal Ubers, they're in a bit of a position to kind of, try and make something happen here. They're playing a lot towards River, at least while Delhi gets himself set up a little bit. We actually have a Raph on the spy, all the way towards Secret. I mean, it's not impossible for him to get something done here. There is a gun set up, but there's all these opportunities, and I feel like right now Bus Crew is getting a little bit kind of antsy, you know? They're starting to be a little bit too worried here. We do actually see a scout just go straight on the point. My god, he got a lot of cap time here as well. And the spy's in. Raph easily picking up Martin. Goodbye. Uber gets dropped. And the Ubers now get used on the side of the Frenchies, taking down the demo as well. This is so good. They don't even need to take the gun down. He's just standing on it. He's just capping. Oh, that was crystal. Just peachy, keen. Mwah, beautiful.
100% conversion rate for the Frenchies into last so far. Just every time they make a play, it works here so far. And again, it's just a difference cohesion makes with a team. Just to play on a point was there, spy pops up, everybody, like the soldier and shutter shoots the gun, and the Uber comes in immediately. The drop comes in, so everybody knew exactly what to do, and it just makes everything go so much easier on us.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful now, and this 2-round advantage is going to be looking good. We do see Poison again jumping deep. He's taking a position, but again, no real frags. We have the entirety of the Frenchie team just playing on floor at this point. Surely it's going to be so hard for them to walk up here and not take any damage at all. We're seeing the entirety of the Bus Crew just walking all the way forward. They want to get some damage. They want to start getting some frags. They're not actually securing anything. Somehow Drone manages to pick it up, even gets a little bit more damage here, but ultimately the mid will go the way of the Bus Crew. We see Albert as well. He's so keen. The damage from Nasboy is super good. If they can manage to get onto Olga before he gets his Uber, he's 93%. This is significant at this point. They need to get to him, but he just about gets his Uber. A lot of pressure on Alien though. They will manage to use their Uber just a little bit earlier. Martin probably will have to flash here, so worst case scenario, this will be even. Yeah, one flash is going to go there. Nasboy is going to jump in and try and at least manage to catch someone up, but he's going to get picked up himself. This is turning really scrappy from both sides here. Frags here on every which way. Ultimately, Olga did go down, but with one less fragging player on the side of the Bus Crew, they've got it back through the choke point. They're going to get chased. There's 2 scouts and a soldier, and they're out for blood right now.
Yeah, worst case, even exchange was just about good enough for the Frenchies to still pick up a fight here. Sure, Olga dies, but he prevented them from taking the point for now, and at least they delayed in the first place to get the exchange out to begin with, which makes a huge difference. Instead of just losing mid, losing second on this ad as well. Sure, it might still be losing mid here, but that's the worst case scenario at this point, it seems like, and they can be content with this more so than just losing basically every single point but last on Uber this ad as well. So it's just a matter of making some sort of play here on second to just not be in that same position on this ad on the last point yet again. Something needs to happen here. Traps already, soldiers in position, and Martin coming in with the rest of the team to choke.
In? Nah, just a little bit too early by man. Martin is too smart for that, sorry. They call him God for a reason. We do have some fighting happening on the flank. Obviously the Frenchies, they, the second they saw the team move through choke, they were like, hey, we're going to back up. They do manage to force out the Uber at least, which is not too bad here. And even this little bit of juggling is pretty significant, preventing Alba from going deep. But it looks like we've had a pause.
Yeah, the classic online pause. Probably just somebody's connection dying for a second or stuff like that. Standard things, you would imagine.
Standard things. Just online things,
I mean, you say that like we didn't literally have like a lot of pauses at LAN. Some of
just online things.
Granted, some LAN pauses were still online things, I guess.
Yeah, it's all good, right? In terms of what's happening right now, right? I think Alba wants blood. I'm seeing some nice little stickies from Delhi delaying things a little bit, but I feel like right now in this game, Frenchies kind of have a little bit too much control. They seem to just have a high success rate in a lot of things they're doing. Bus Crew's managing to get up to a point, but not really kind of convert the really significant advantages. Well, yeah, okay, once again, we're seeing them manage to move all the way forward, go towards second. They prevented that back up, but they did have to use their Uber. Now Olga's basically got his Uber, going all the way through top. Yep, Uber's getting used again. Poison's going to go all the way through choke. Big door, I believe it actually was, and yeah, okay. Just as I said that, this is actually pretty disastrous for the Frenchies. Ignore me.
Yeah, this is, I think, the difference between these two teams so far, at least, with like approaching half times here. The Frenchies look really good in terms of playmaking and coordinated plays. Bus Crew looked pretty decent on like momentum sort of plays, just keeping up the play from one point to another. The play just now into second with Ebert was almost a really good sign of that, but just fell a little bit short, but he still secured the advantage onto mid, and to keep up this Uber now into second here as well. So let's see if they can keep up that trend, and for now it's just fairly safe play by the Frenchies. They don't want to contest this too much. You have the opportunity to risk a sack here, or maybe two, but the more you lose here, and especially if you're unsuccessful, the worse your last shot gets, so they're not going to take any chances here. Set up a last, gun up, pyro, we've seen it before, but on Bus Crew's end, let's see if it succeeds for the Frenchies here.
Yeah, we actually do see the Bus Crew move a little bit towards the shutter. I thought for a second they might have thought they still had an advantage somehow, but they're smarter than that. Yeah, they're not going to worry too much, so this is going to be perfectly equal. Obviously, last time in the reverse situation, we did see some significant success from a spy, but This time it looks like it's just going to be a soldier jumping directly into a pyro. He gets actually quite a lot of damage onto Deli, but I mean, he's not going to do anything much there at all. This is exactly where that pause was, so I believe there was this little player disconnect, so we'll probably have about 10 seconds of kind of, you know, courtesy, don't do anything, you know, let everyone get set up, you know, put your hands back on your mouse and keyboard. And now the Frenchies are going to start peeking and prodding. Now, they're 2 rounds up. There are 15 minutes left in the game. There's no reason to start parking the bus at this point, but at the same time, there's no real incentive to go crazy. I mean, like, Raf peeking into lobby, you know, if he gets vision, great. If he dies, who cares? I mean, it's one player disadvantage, you already got Pyro Gun.
I mean, it's parking the bus if you're the one pushing last, like not taking opportunities, but this, I can't really call parking the bus as much since they are the ones down right now on the map control here. They're the ones sitting on last. It's much harder for them to approach than it is for the other team to make any sort of plays, offensively speaking. So it's all on the bus crew right now in more ways than one, and I was the one picking up the rifle here. We talked about it before the game went live. He likes playing sniper a lot, so let's see if he can do it. No huntsman, unfortunately. A little bit disappointed there, but sniper rifle has to do, but looking at Olga's position, he's aware of where he needs to be. Dispenser eventually goes down, but that's the safety net he needs to be able to react in the first place.
This is really, really nice from the bus crew. The way they're peeking all these different doorways. I mean, Albert does get taken down, yeah, but there was one particular moment where there was a lot of pressure on Olga. He actually had to move from that safe spot just because of how much spam was coming through Shutter. It's nicely played. It didn't work perfectly in terms of execution, but the theory, as long as the bus crew can get a few more attempts at that, I feel like this should be looking pretty good here, especially because I'm not sure if the Frenchies really have a way of dealing with that. I don't know whether perhaps it might be that they want to get slightly more aggressive with their pyro, possibly into lobby. You know?
Yeah, that's the sort of last playmaking on the Gullywash that 7, I think, pioneered more so than anyone else, which is just this sort of pressure from all different angles at the same time to slowly, like, punch away at this huge wall that is this last hold here and get, like, one by one a little bit better of a position to play, or be it the gun, be it some random player, be it a force. Like, just slowly but surely, eventually you're gonna get there, and right now they still have time to do it, so they don't need to rush things forward too much. Alba still takes his chances though, and everybody's well aware. Draw picks up the sniper there, Alba going down, so they're playing safe for a little bit longer here on last, and still, while there's 30 minutes left, there's still time ticking away from the bus crew.
Yeah, I mean, it's not getting anywhere near the kind of real danger periods where they have to do something absolutely crazy. But you actually see Alba spawning on Scout, so it's possible they'll go for a bit more of a point play. I mean, with where most of the karnax team is playing, it's kind of difficult to get the point really, really quickly, especially if, you know, you manage to get it into water for free, or, you know, kind of even main through secret, because the gun will only cover just about, like, deep through main, so it might be something that they're looking for, especially when it seems like Team karnax is so intent on playing around their medic specifically rather than the point. I would also like to point out how, with Olga playing in this dispenser, Albert is the king of killing medics in dispensers. So I'm going to make predictions that that will happen at some point.
Yeah, that's like
the thing.
Short seconds where Olga peeks just to get the buff in better on somebody far away, or to see where they are in the first place. But that just is the moment to strike. But I was back with scouts.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's actually a pretty disastrous trade. Okay, Uber does get used on both teams, not too bad. I mean, Alba has died, but we do have a banner getting used. Oh, Aliens died as well. Okay, this could be looking pretty good, actually.
On the battalions, yeah, playing close. He wants to just bait them all into him, pop the thing, and then profit. I had the fortunate pleasure to play against the battalions back up the other day. It is not fun, let me tell you. I mean, not to not to break too hard, but I hit 2 air pipes against somebody, and
we're busting. Damage. This is banner versus banner. This is no one's taking any damage. No one's dying. Okay, right. Mathers does eventually die. Albert as well. The hold is too good for the Frenchies. They are too good.
There's a buff banner on top of that by draw. So now they just deal immediate damage as well.
Oh my god, that's actually okay. That's actually really scary. Like, the second buff banner comes out, firstly you wonder how he managed to get that charge. Secondly, you get spooked.
Like what if you just peek last and suddenly you just deal half the damage and everybody else and they just destroy you? This was like a play for a force on Nuba, but they just had to get the banner. Poison super aggressive though. Into lobby, gets a good rocket onto Daddy, can't quite clean him up though.
No. Okay, we're just turning into a DM server right now. Yeah, Poison goes in, Mathers as well, right? They're both dying. Soldier in 2019, all in a day's work. Now the entirety of the bus crew, they've got to play back. I mean, you know, Alba's trying to keep some position towards point, but it's pretty scary. They're taking all this spam. As long as Team karnax can just play fairly slow, it should be fine. We see a much earlier use by Martin. They do at least pick up Delhi, which is nice. I mean, losing your demo in that situation is really not what you want. But you're not losing karnax as well. I mean, they managed to trade things, and with the player disconnecting, it's still equal. They do still have Uber on the side of Olga, but not really perfect, a little bit scrappy. They're not even checking these stickies. Yeah, and Raf's gonna get punished. This is scrappy, man. This is scrappy.
Yeah, Basco just wants to keep any sort of plays up right now, and it's getting punished very well. The Uber still up and running for Olga just means that they defended really well. Draw actually sniping down Alba from drop down, getting him in shock, and they just pop through Big Door instead on the other side, meeting them right on the exit. Martin has nowhere to run. Nasboy just barely escaped, but the high steep price of Humatic going down here might not be quite worth it. And it's just getting worse and worse right now, and it really does look like Basco is getting a little bit desperate with still a decent amount of time being played here.
Yeah, I feel like they're just not really finding success, and it's maybe just a bit of frustration more than anything. They're just kind of like, you know, the regular stuff isn't working. Why can't we just dry push? Why can't we just, you know, go like an off Uber, just aggro, just do it? And I don't know, the Frenchies, they just seem a little bit too coordinated, you know? Even when things get close, they'll just about manage to eke it out, and now they manage to eke themselves out a big Uber advantage. They have a banner as well being used. My god, this could be a nuke Uber. This could be nuke. Duo's going all the way in. They're actually going 2 through lower. Yeah, Matters is getting picked up nice and easily. Oh my god, Nasboy as well. This is an Uber buff banner. What can you really do at this point? Yeah, they're just absolutely destroying. Owned. Goodbye. It's just Martin. Not happening, man. 3 rounds.
And that's a fun fact for you right there. The buff banner doesn't care about verticality as much as it does about like horizontal distance to your teammates. So if you're under the point on Gullywash or just like in the lower area in general, the people above you still get the effects from it. So everybody playing from top into last still got 35% damage increase, and everybody below as well, so everything just dies.
Yeah, pretty much everything just died. Right, now this is getting to the scary time, right? 9 minutes left in the game, still a lot of time, but the Bush need to find some success here. Both soldiers again going nice and aggressive, getting some decent damage here, not really cleaning up any frags. They do manage to get Raf. They lose Martin just as quickly though, so only 3 French players, and it does look like they're going to have to back up pretty significantly. They shouldn't really even be looking to take this fight. Ooh, karnax nearly winning that 1v1, but thank god Olga did manage to at least get out with his life. So another scrappy fight, but we are seeing some success on the side of the bus crew. They can manage to keep up the pressure towards second and perhaps prevent the French team from fully committing. It might look pretty good, but realistically the health is just not looking too good on the side of the bus crew.
Yeah, and the mid just shows that the bus crew maybe is a little bit desperate right now, but they still have ideas left. They had like 3 different mids at this point, and this one they just try to match the aggression of the Frenchies, which otherwise on every other point is a lot more passive, I would say, than the Basco, but on the mids especially they've been playing very aggressive. Now Basco takes the offensive as well. Did cost the Martin, did not quite get them Olga, but it did get them all the other kills. So as long as they can deal with this Uber coming in from Big Door, well, they have a chance here.
Oh yeah, we jumping in the stickies. Ooh, just seeing them in time. Olga laying almost perfectly there. He does take a little bit of damage, but not going to have to use his Uber at all. Going to be a nice, easy take of mid, and they can possibly look to start going towards choke. I mean, Nasboy's just only arriving. There was a fraction of a window just there, but I believe Team Karnax is content just to kind of, you know, stalemate it out for just a minute, you know? That was a nice, clean take. They know it's going to be equal Ubers. They can just keep on chilling. Alba, though, no interest in chilling. He's going to start walking through. He wants to take possibly a little trade. We actually saw the entirety of the Frenchies move towards Big Door. Martin now has to move back. We have 2 players threatening at least behind. We still have Duo trying to make something happen towards lower. Somehow Nasboy doesn't see him. Surely he gets clean up. Yep, he will, and now 2-player advantage for the bus crew. Surely they find some success here.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to at this point. The only thing they have to worry about is traps, and this time they're checking on bus crew. They've learned from their mistakes, making sure that Martin doesn't walk in first anywhere, and everybody's staying alive. They get this point relatively for free. No one really wants to contest it after Solis went down. No one really can, other than a demo having traps. So safe play by the Frenchies yet again. Gets them out of there without any more casualties than necessary, and the bus crew is visibly taking a lot more risks now. I was obviously just trying to bus through choke earlier. Now again, just seeing if there's any opportunity for him to take, and it's going to be hard now. Everybody's back live, yeah. The Ubers are even, and time is slowly but surely ticking. With a 3-0 scoreline, it's going to be even harder now.
I'm just like, right now, the only real risk in terms of choke is towards Duo. Like, they're even managing to keep hold of Big Door. That's really impressive. The fact they managed to get Mathis there this whole time, Olga playing above point, it's almost impossible to get onto him, right? Unless you get the cleanest bomb through choke, right? It's so difficult to even physically get to him. And then it's like, okay, maybe you can rush choke and you get Duo, but does that really even matter? Whatever soldier's playing there, like, Alva's going to go in, he's going to try and make something happen, but he's just going to get cleaned up. There's so much distance they have to travel to get any chance of forcing the Uber, and now, you know, that was one attempt. Awesome. They've lost Alba, 10 seconds more on the clock, but time's going to be ticking down. 6 minutes left, 3 rounds down. I feel like the way the Frenchies are playing this second right now is really, really good for just, you know, keep on dragging things out, keep on kind of securing that win.
Yeah, it's gonna be so tough for the Basco now. They obviously, like we see in the first few minutes, just really want to make some sort of play happen, want to break this wall to be able to just walk in afterwards with the rest of the team. This time it's Ixie making a play, getting behind. We talked about how they tried to not have that happen to begin with in the earlier holes, but they've gotten there now on the Basco, and Poison from the one side, everyone on the combo from the other one, but Poison doesn't stay alive, and with that Ixie and the combo can't really make a play from the other side of the second point, and just kind of have to disengage, and they know about Ixie being there now as well.
Yeah, they're 100% aware of him. Even if he manages to win a little 1v1, does it really matter at this point? We see another soldier, yep, going behind as well. Going to be taking this 1v1 with Duo. They're going to do the classic little Roma trade there, so nothing too much is going to happen. Nasboy is looking to bust all the way through Choke. He's actually hitting some fat punch, forcing up this Uber, so... Oh, it's much better for Barton. About 30% in. Nasboy with his sticky bombs should be able to do really well, but he's actually... I feel like he's getting just a little bit too early. Suddenly he's finding himself a little bit... scary situation as his soldiers start trying to rain death down. There's no real height on the side of the bus crew, but they kind of got to commit to this fight anyway. 5 minutes, they just got to kind of heal up and start going. And the Frenchies are actually the first team which is going to start backing up a little bit scared, you know? They don't want to lose the situation too badly. They know it's equal Ubers. They're going to back to last, play things a little bit chill, and honestly, at this point of your bus crew, I feel like you just got to kind of off Uber.
Yeah, they need to find an opening quickly, but with the heavy on the field, it's so hard. They haven't even picked up the point yet, and with people still taking fight before they even get in to begin with. Really nice defense by the Frenchies here onto the early committing players. There's just so little chance to even make something like that happen anymore. Alba and Nasboy down. Nasboy, I think, was the first of the two to die, and without the demo, it was already kind of doomed to not be a good push regardless. So it just wastes more time. Olga has Uber any second. Advantage barely matters. It's effectively even at this point. It's not like the French side here will really start engaging anytime soon with this little time left. They just really need to play safe for like two and a half more minutes to just really bring it home safely.
Yeah, at this point, you know, for the Frenchies, in their head at least, it's a home straight. Oh my god, dropping Albert there is unforgivable. There's some kind of lack of communication here. Maybe it is a frustration, but Bus Crew just absolutely fails to get anything there. No damage, no frag, no Uber gets used on the side of the Frenchies. And now this is like the nightmare situation if you're the Bus Crew. You're seeing there, you're losing Ixie as well. You have no scouts, you have no Uber, right? You've got to at least spend another 30 seconds or so trying to like build up this Uber again. And with 3 minutes left to go, I mean, we're going to need Olga to drop and then drop and then drop like a few more times to stand any chance at all of winning this.
Yeah, this is just basically now go in and hope that Olga messes up dropping himself or dropping everybody else. Something needs to happen here, or this is a done deal at this point. The bus crew can't afford to take like any more minutes here to make a play. They just need to go at any moment. Alba already under the point, wants to start engaging for the rest of his team to play off, but the Solly meets him straight away, draw picks it up fairly easily there. And that just basically is curtains, I want to say. Unless they have like a huge surprise play going here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's effectively gonna be it. I mean, there is still time now to at least, you know, go for some of the gimmick plays, some of the kind of sympathy rounds, you know, at least try and find some success, because there's nothing worse than playing your first map and feeling completely outclassed, feeling like you have no options here. And that's what it seemed like has more or less been happening. We do see once again Uber get used. This time Alba does manage to stay alive. Uber does get used, but Martin's actually getting juggled absolutely everywhere. He does manage to just back at Alba. No! He's actually getting air blasted in. No! Martin's just going to get mulched down. M1 Pyro. Oh my god, Alien. What an absolute fragging machine he is. He's going. He doesn't care.
He must have learned from the best, being the guy literally behind him, having the beam on him. So Olga fragging a Pyro in Spirit, and the rest of the team cleans up forward. Easy picks on the rest of the bus crew here. Just 2 men left alive with approximately 40 HP total. Nasboy with 2, they're not staying enough, much longer to choke either. And if it wasn't cut before, it certainly is not. Bus crew falling short on map 1, and in, I would say, for the Frenchies, a really impressive fashion. Really well structured gameplay here from all across the board.
Yeah, just really coordinated. They're just playing better tier 2 than the bus crew right now. At least on Gullywash, they're just completely, just way more in control. We are going to see some frags coming in, so Mathes, you know, at least managing to pick up one before losing his own life to Olga, so Olga's just like taking another one off on the board, you know, he's showing he can frag on Scout, he can frag on Soldier, Demo as well, yeah, sure, why not, Medic too? Let's just do it. They're going to walk all the way. They might even want to just take this as a 4-0. They've got this massive Uber advantage. Why not just go all the way through? They do manage to lose Rat, which kind of sucks, but Nasboy's getting cleaned up by Alien. Nice and easy. Martin as well. Super scary towards River. Yeah, surely he's going to die here. Swords are coming out. Woo! Okay. Poison's going to save his medic. This is it now, right? This is where you start getting some of those frags. You start thinking about the logs, you know. You're going to start bigging up yourself for the second map, which I believe is going to be Snake.
Yes, it is in fact Snakewater as the second map here, which is Basker's pick, and it's always nice to see that a team picking their own map is actually looking really strong on it, not just being successful, but just looking actually strong on it in comparison to the other team. Not just for the fact that it's funny to joke about teams just like being bad on the maps they pick, but just because it shows that they actually are well aware of where their strengths lie and where maybe the other team's weaknesses are. And that's a really good first showing here, if that's anything to go by, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like the pressure's gonna be on the Busker at this point. They actually really look like they want to get at least one round here. They've got the super advantage. They've taken down Karnax as well. There's one pyro close, but surely an entire Uber is enough to kill this one pyro. Alien's not that good, is he? I'm a little bit scared right now. In fact, I'm saying that we do see players towards the point. They're dropping a lot now. Players everywhere. There's so much damage being dealt to these Frenchy players. Surely they can manage to walk in. Please, Natsboy, he's walking towards point. They're going to manage to at least secure one round here. 8 seconds to go. They get at least a sympathy round. So that is a 3-1 technically.
Yeah, it just brings some spirits maybe a little bit up. Don't want to feel too down going to the second map of best of 3, which could just end it early, even if it like needs to be the one where you need to start turning things around. And mentality-wise, that always helps, even if just a little bit. Some people need it more, some others, but it's never bad to have, I would say. So
no, exactly. Like literally, just especially when there's like a bit of frustration. Sometimes you just need that 2 base just to kind of like chill out. You play the game, you get some frags, and you'd be like, oh yeah, these guys are awful. We can own them, right? You know, you get into that mindset.
Yeah, and especially with the frustration, I think you mentioned as well during the game that it certainly looked like that was like in the play as well for the Busker here. That they just looked like a little bit planless and timed against the holes that the Frenchies had. Against the set plays that they had, the coordination just overwhelming them both defensively and offensively. Where I think the only moments where the Busker really struggled at all was just like in the transitions where the moment they had something going somehow, they were pretty decent at keeping the ball rolling. They need to find more opportunities like that on this second map, and hopefully at that point on the third map as well, if they can bring it that far, where the Frenchies just really need to keep playing to their strength, have these set plays be strong, have the holes be strong. Just not waste any opportunity the moment they get it, because they got a lot less opportunities like that with how they played. Obviously, a little bit more passive on how they play, but if you can just make every opportunity you have work, then it doesn't matter how few you get ultimately, as long as you have at least one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you have 2 last pushes and they both work, in like the first 7 or 8 minutes, like that's already putting you in a good place, right? It felt like, yeah, just like the finishing moves is what the Bus crew was kind of lacking, but it wasn't that map, credit where it's due. Frenchies played absolutely fantastic TF2, but Snakewater should be a bit of a different beast. Before we go on there though, I think we should have a little look at some of our logs.tf, I'm gonna have a little look and see what screams out to me. I mean, there's one thing that's screaming out to me, that's the fact that Olga has a 1 KD. He got 3 frags and he got 3 deaths. I feel like that's a very telling sign, that game, where things got scrappy, especially in some of these mid-fights, like really weird stuff happened, but Olga only getting 3 deaths that entire game was pretty significant. Like, it didn't really amount to any more Ubers, but he was just constantly alive, and that threat of a medic is pretty significant. People play weird when they see a medic on the field. Sometimes people just like pass their brain in, and maybe that was a little bit kind of what the Frenchies were playing more, because they play that slightly more passive. They were just like, let's let them kind of walk at us a little bit, pick them up one by one.
Yeah, it's always interesting how that works out, and I mean, it wasn't that high fragging for game. It was slow at times, so 6 and 3 medics death doesn't sound that much, but it's still like twice the difference between the medics here, and it always is impactful in a slow game like this every time a single death happens on the medics. And yeah, twice is obviously a big difference here, so that's unfortunate for Martin and Gang, who you can't really blame on like an individual level as much as just on a cohesion level, right? We talked about that a lot already, but it's just like the big outstanding factor here between these 2 teams that makes the biggest difference, that the Frenchies just were the better team, if anything. Like, you look at these rosters and I feel like a lot of people would just say, oh yeah, these are the better players on the Busker. They've been around on a higher level, but even if some of them played with each other before, not all of them did, and not all of them did in quite a while. So the Frenchies just showing off that they have the experience at this point. They've been around the block, maybe not at the highs of high level, but long enough at high level that it does impactfully make a difference.
I think it's also impressive to mention that as much as, we were kind of talking about the mid fights, according to the old logs, Team Karnax only won a single mid fight that game. I mean, there was a lot of kind of repushing onto mid, which obviously kind of explains things a little bit more. But they only managed to win one mid fight. They had the exact same amount of Ubers. You know, the kills weren't even that far out, but it seems like night and day when you kind of compare scout to scout. Like Alien going 21 for 9, considering I think we've seen Alien play basically every class at this point, right? That's really, really impressive to just kind of have such a dominating performance. And then the same's kind of true. Like, so Karnax went 11 for 8, yeah, but he barely took like any damage. He was constantly alive, constantly just kind of, you know, doing his thing. He spent half his game on Engineer, you know, a solid like 8 minutes just like whacking a gun. It just felt like, I mean, the players played well, but it was just more, the team was just better, right? Like, you know, the bus crew just completely kind of ran out of ideas. They couldn't really do anything against some of these Frenchy holds. And it, you know, I always feel like it's impressive. You know, you got to give credit to a team when they just win by being the better team, not the better individual players.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how this goes into Snakewater as the second map. Obviously, we talked about Gully a lot now. We've seen it as well, so we know how things went down there. Snake is a different map in many of ways. Every stalemate plays out differently. Just general layout is a lot different. Mid, like you said, obviously went highly in the favor of Basku. Surprisingly, how close they were at times still. I'm interested to see how this will end up being. We saw the aggressive Solly bombs coming out for the Frenchies. It's a little bit easier to engage that way on Gully with the difference on high ground, low ground that you can engage from as a soldier on Gullywash mid. Well, on Snake, you kind of have to just most of the time take the head-on approach. A lot more predictable most of the time, unless you wrap around through kitchen, which takes a lot more time. So I'm interested to see how different these mid-fights will go down between these two teams, what ideas they have, and how they execute them.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of soldiers on Snakewater in particular, it's like you have got that height differential. It's obviously very different because you can't delay on floor anywhere near as much on Snake compared to Gully because there's not that same cover. But you've got to feel like the bus crew have a reason for wanting to go to Snakewater. They've got to have at least something a little bit more planned. It felt like even when it came to the aggressive bus crew mids, you know, they would manage to win them, but it usually came down to more like, I know the soldiers would like have absolute nuke bombs and then they'd play like a little bit slower and it would kind of work out. Like they never had a super coordinated, everyone kind of floods forward at the same time and then suddenly like 3 frags happen, you know? It always ended up being like a little bit scrappy. I feel like Snake might be considerably better because, you know, like we said so many times, like they've got a lot of talent on their roster. If they can kind of, you know, slot the last little bit of the puzzle into how they're taking some of these fights, there's no reason why they can't, you know, have just as dominating a map on Snakewater as the Frenchies did on Gully.
Unrelated to just Snakewater things in general as well, I just, you know, to remind everybody and myself as well, I guess, is the fact that, you know, these are really good teams still, nonetheless, and 6 of these guys only will make it to Prem. The other 6 will be going home as Div 1 players, and that's in some ways crazy to think about because both of these like rosters are so talented across the board, and it just really speaks volume about the season we're gonna heading into in like both Prem and Div 1. That like one of those only can be a Prem team this season, and the other one will be going to be back in Div 1. So it's going to be tough competition across the board here for whichever Div they end up being in, and they just increase the quality of either Div, I think, a decent bit. And that's just kind of crazy for post-LAN season as well, where usually it's just, oh yeah, people just kind of like create random mixed teams. People are a little bit less keen. Maybe they are still, but they still want to have like their realistically best shot at it still winning, regardless. So really, really strong season coming forward here, I think.
It's looking pretty good. I feel like considering, you know, we've already seen one team kind of get knocked down to Div 1 a couple of days ago. If you're an aspiring Div 1 team, you got to be a little bit scared right now because there's going to be a lot of talent in that Div. And then obviously, you know, maybe some of these teams, when they just kind of work things out for another season, you know, looking towards kind of Prem next season, it's going to, you know, no reason why it can't be even more stacked. You know, the more these kind of teams work themselves out a little bit, the more they kind of, you know, get a little bit kind of more coordinated, a little bit more kind of together with how they're playing things. I feel like we're starting to live in a world where some of these teams are kind of sticking together just a little bit more, which I always feel like generates some of the coolest TF2. But we've got 6 players. I feel like we've got to give some predictions for Snakewater.
I'm still going to go with the Frenchies here at this point. I believe in Basku making this to the 3rd map, but at this point, I feel like the difference is starting to come in too strong for the Frenchies here. I'd be surprised. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Frenchies here, yeah.
I'm gonna disagree with you mainly because it makes it interesting, but also because my heart is still too much with the bus crew, you know? Like they're a hype-based team. They had about, you know, 2 minutes where things went well right at the end of last game. Maybe they're starting to feel things a little bit more. Maybe just on their map pick, they could be like, all right, boys, shake off all the nonsense, play our game, do our thing. I think it's so telling when you have Alba and Ixie having as quiet a game as they did last game, because they're both like nutty scouts, right? But it just shows what happens when you're never really in that position. I feel like as long as they can get both their scouts into a position to do a little bit more on this map, they should just be able to kind of, start pulling up the team and just kind of, be able to move forward much more as a unit. Oh, we're actually ready now. DuMmTm. This is going to be it, going into our map 2. This is going to be Snakewater Bus Crew versus the Karnax team full of wonderful Frenchies. This is the Season 34 preseason Premiership playoffs. This is map 2 with map 1 already having gone the way of the Frenchies. So it'll be super crucial to see the Bus Crew at least try and start things off well here on this map. An early mid-fight, an early round is going to be all too crucial in terms of just securing themselves just a little bit of comfort here. Top left is where they're going to be playing just a little bit. Martin delaying because he doesn't want too much to happen. Deli's just moving all the way towards Choke. Oh, Raph with this deep bomb. Immediately picking up Nasco. It's super good. Poison and Mathers, they're trying to counter things just a little bit, but they're getting cleaned up oh so easily. Poison's going to jump in just about getting that crucial rock onto Olga, salvaging the best out of a bad situation, but Martin, he's all by his lonesome. He's going to get cleaned up. Actually just going to kill bind there, so one medic for the entirety of the Bus Crew. Not a good start to things.
Yeah, and immediately the coordination of the Frenchies just shows yet again. Just the moment the damage by Deli comes out onto the Nasboy, bombs just straight onto the Demo Man. He just immediately dies and just land on his face. No chance for him to survive down until, unless he would have been hit with like frame 1 arrow there. And it's fairly unlikely, so really well executed there. And again, like you said, they only scraped away just barely with the Olga kill, paying the seed price of literally everything else for it as well on top of that. Makes it not just a mid-win, but a second take on top of that. Slight add even regardless of that, even though they got the medic, just because Martin died so much later. So it is not really much they can play off, it just makes it nice and safe for you to know that they won't even dare doing anything in the second just now.
Man, if they go off this like 15% advantage, I might scream. That's actually key.
Ooh,
and they're picking up poison is good as well. This sniper on the side of Ixie is going to be super important. These stickies as well. Okay, Alien has got taken down. Karnax is all going super weak. He's not actually been cleaned up yet. It is still possible. Uber is up 20% disadvantage for Martin, but I feel like losing Alien, yeah, it is going to cause Team Karnax just to back up a little bit. There was a bit of a chance there, and I respect them a lot for just at least peeking a little bit. If Alien didn't manage to die to those stickies, if they kind of, check things a little bit more, that could have been really sick. So it's good to see the Frenchies are, they're really feeling things already. And honestly, it's not even that bad of a situation, because now Alien's just up on Sniper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the Bosco can manage to deal with the stalemates on this map better than last one. Wasn't too good looking for them before. Both teams opting for the Sniper this time. Not too much out of that from the Frenchies. They just, played a lot more traditional in the offensive situations here. But it's Gully. You have a lot more options with a full standard Sixes lineup. So off classes are considerably a lot more worthwhile to have on Snake. I think obviously the Sniper is the most obvious one. Why they did do that once. Still just as good an option, maybe a little bit more predictable now that it has happened once before. Sniper is just a lot more safer in that regard. So Alien picks up the rifle here, contesting Ixie on the other side of the shutter door. No one really wants to take the risk too much. The only one that really peaks more than anyone else is Karnax, just constantly forcing people to engage him on the open door on the right side.
Yeah, this peeking and prodding it's nothing too significant on the side of Alien right now. He's just, he's making himself known, making people at least try and have to deal with him a little bit. Obviously, the second Martin gets into this standard little kind of sniper safe zone, he suddenly becomes a lot more predictable with how he's going to move, where he's going to be positioned. It's usually a case that if you can get a soldier kind of deep after peeking with a sniper, things can be pretty good, but can't really be picking with a sniper when he's dead, because Matt is going to pick him up nice and easy on his right hand side, so nice and easy there. We have an opportunity for Nasboy just to move forward a little bit, at least get some stickies up, and possibly someone from the Bus Crew could look to go. It's scary jumping from this massive high disadvantage. Yeah, Poison's just going to peek and ultimately just going to be backing up now. They do have a sniper and a gun going up now as well on the defensive side, so...
And it's so scary to do anything into second here. I don't know if you know about the statistic, but 70% of rounds on Snakewater are lost on second, not on last. Definitely a true statistic, and it holds true every time. Like, the moment you take a slightly imperfect chance out of last into second, you will have the worst Uber, you will commit too many people too deep, can't escape anymore, will lose way too many players and just lose by default by not having spawns up for last anymore. And it happens every time.
Poison just got scout class. That was actually kind of disgusting. He actually had no idea Alien was there, then he gets kind of two-shot anyway. That's really sad. Players are still equal though. We have snipers still on both sides. We're peeking now, we're prodding, we're going towards this right-hand side. Karnax this time. He's just like, right, Alien sucks. Alien can't snipe, right. Karnax is going to be walking in. He's going to be picking and prodding. Gets... Won't hit the shot there at all, actually. So this far left-hand side, it is pretty open. Especially, like, the second they know that Ixie's playing towards the shutter, surely that opens up left, right? Like, there's not even any stickies here. They can just peek it a little bit more. There's no reason why Karnax can't just peek, like, super, super deep. Even with Martin inside dispenser, you can start looking for some other picks.
Yeah, we'll see what chances they take here. Obviously, Karnax, as mentioned before, on Sniper now instead of Alien, picks up the rifle, sees for opportunities, has not really taken too much of a fight here just yet. Obviously, you always want to play safe in this situation. And the gun is also always a huge problem here as well. It's so hard to spam it down from a distance. It's just so much further away, so much more predictable if you go for that at all. You have to kind of engage in the Uber, right? There's not much more options you really have, unlike Gully, where you have a lot more like freedom to spam it from different angles a lot more easily, especially if there's no pyro. Here you barely even need one to begin with. Obviously it's a lot harder for pyro to exist to begin with, because you can't deny people on entry either. Well, on Gullywash you have the flexibility, but here it's just so much harder for the engaging team to deal with the gun at all that it's really, really hard to deal with that thing. So it just is a lot more easy for the sniper to just take rain here. On both ends for that matter, but on defense as well.
I feel like both snipers are playing just a little bit kind of overly fearful at this point. I can almost understand on the side of Ixie because, you know, he's playing defensive sniper. He is actually finally getting body shot down, so this opens things up. There's no sniper now. We do see Mathis trying to jump forward along with his buddy Poison. They're taking a lot of damage though. If they can get through this choke point on the side of the Frenchies, they should be looking pretty good, but they're just not quite able to commit. Alien now getting in, gets some more damage here. We see Martin really nice, rotating as fast as he did. They do manage to pick up one and the sentry gun as well, so Frenchies, they're looking super, super good. Karnax is jumping in. He's going to be walking all the way through that far right-hand side. All of the French players are basically just starting to move through here. The damage is good. Pick up Ixie as well. This is looking super, super disastrous with no gun as well to redefend anything. Surely, surely, this is going to come all down to how much damage Ellie can pump out. But he's going to get picked up as well. We see a soldier coming in, and Uber's going to be getting used here by Martin. 2 picks are going to get taken. Actually, Alien's going to go down as well, so 3 picks there, but we do still have an Uber on the side of Olga. He's actually only with the sniper, so it's a little bit scared, but he's all the way gone. All the way gone. Going to be a big old Uber advantage. They may lose control of second, but if they're really, really fast, they might actually be able to catch the entirety of the bus crew. It's going to be much faster in this zone.
This is the scary opportunities you have to be ready for. Sure, they got the point for free this time, so you are not going to get pushed on while you're still capping, which is optimal scenario, but you still need to be careful to not risk just too much here. Solly's down already, could be a huge difference maker, so no one even dares trying to force it to begin with. They just want to get back to last safely, but even then, like, capping seconds already.
This should be so good, all the way from lower. They're just going to be using super, super easy, managing to pick up points, and that's a pretty good start as well. Mathis should be the next back. He's directly above point. They do manage to pick him up as well. Only 3 players on the side of the bus crew. Martin's not actually healing, just manages to connect to a scout, but somehow Alba, he's absolutely owning right now. Somehow that ends up into just somehow like a 2 versus 3, and Alien's getting picked up as well. Martin might even get, not Martin, Olga might even get picked up towards grass. No, he will be just about backing out. I don't know. That hurt my little brain. That hurt my brain, buddy.
Yeah, and it just shows that it needed all of that popping off by Alba to save this, because it was just so sketchy. They had just such a good opportunity in the Frenchies to push with this Uber ad into last hold where there was no real setup, no gun, no heavy, no anything. They just left from second. So they needed a miracle play, and Albert delivered when they desperately needed the most. They need to make the most of this. They won't get many more opportunities if the Frenchies are allowed to keep on playing like they are. So this needs to count right now. And they're taking their time here, but they're also doing it safely at the very least.
Yeah, they're playing with a little bit more confidence here. I'm starting to feel it. I mean, I think Alba's feeling himself like he's lost his wallet right now. Just moving towards his choke points, going all the way towards choke as well. Whoa, a little bit scary, my man. You're a soldier, you can't really manage to live off that. Yeah, he's actually been cratering as well. This is looking super, super good. The deep bomb! Oh, Mathis not just like hitting that shot, but oh my god, Nathboy's in. This is the pug. This is the pug. We're all jumping in. Uber's getting used. Immediate flashes on Olga. But Martin as well, back flashing just like equally. As long as one team can end up with some kind of height advantage, it's going to be pretty significant. We do see so much damage being dealt towards some of these bus crew players towards grass, and they're just going to start to get picked up so much. Alba not quite hitting his crucial little shots. The rest of his team is going to be backing all the way now. That's boy Sticky's picking up Karnax is going to be a nice little kind of a prize right at the end of it, but it's not going to be enough to prevent the Frenchies from capping mid here. And as much as it's equal Ubers, if they can manage to deny some of these forwards, nah, not quite. So I don't think the Frenchies can quite look to continue. But the contest from the side of bus crew, oh Oh, they're playing brave. I like this so much. If they can get these soldiers up top, this should be looking pretty good. Nasboy, he's calling his team forward. He's like, guys, let's go. I've got pipes, I've got stickies. Let's just start trying to move across point. They can't play here indefinitely, and the height is still a significant issue. But with Roy getting forced to the ground as well, Raph already playing pretty far back. This should be looking pretty good. Some of these scouts to take some position. Oh, what an air shot there from Poison, picking up Karnax, and maybe that's the one frag that really they need. The Frenchies already starting to play this a little bit further back. They're scared. They have so much fear from the side of the bus crew. We do see once again soldiers battling to the air. Mathis just managing to live. Uber does get used. Martin's still got his as well. There's just scrappy fights going absolutely everywhere, Dom.
The exchange keeps going, as you said, slightly, but Uber and Martin on the technical side. Realistically, though, he dropped just too many players. Alba wasn't on the beam, Mathis couldn't get saved in time either. They just have to run for it, and it looked for a little while that they just started better playing them by just out-DMing people with the nice air shot there, as well as Alba popping up on last, but it's just still not quite enough if the coordination is just not that little bit better on the Ubers here. Frenchie's capitalizing not just on mid, but on second as well, just forcing them back while the players are still respawning, getting second on top of mid as well secured on an even Uber situation here that just forces the same yet again out of Basket, which took them a lot of work to get out of last to begin with.
That's so important. Like that's crazy. That's crazy that the Frenchies managed to make that situation so good for them. Like, you know, there's about 4 times in that fight alone where another team may have said, okay, we've got some hype, but the positioning is not fantastic, the health isn't fantastic, we can back up, but they were so intent on keeping control of things, and they just played it really smart. Now, they are, you know, knocking on the door of the bus crew. It is still 0-0, so this might be a bit of an opportunity, but this is a bit of an equal Uber situation, so can't imagine we're going to see anything all too fast just yet. They're going to take some time to at least scope out what's happening on the defense. There is no defensive NG or heavy, so in terms of soldier bombs, now is the best time to try and do something.
See if they want to take their chances, because the Basket really can't afford to like much at all on this last position. It was so close last time already when they managed to get out of last, so they're going to play safe again with the sniper up. Whoa, like you said, double bomb not quite being initiated here, but at least some bombs come in. Doesn't last too long either. Martin safe and spawn well in time, and no one really played off that. With a high bomb like that, you like would imagine somebody would take the opportunity to just come in while everybody's looking upward, but not quite. Poison taking his chance. Alba taking care of it himself.
Oh, that was perfect. Poison served as such a distraction, but there was actually some extra little trades going on here now, so 2 down a piece, but with Alba's absolute nutty headshot there, this is going to be a big old Uber advantage for Martin. The Frenchies now, they're backing all the way towards second. They're just about getting Olga spawn. As soon as these players spawn on the side of the bus crew, it should be looking all good for them to start pushing out. They've got to be a little bit aware though. There's some stickies towards second. There's always that threat of a back cap, but picking up karnax just makes people sleep just a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable in their bed tonight. Rash as well, Frenchie's going to jump in. Oh, he's going to get skybox. Someone hit it, no one hit it. Unlucky. But
maybe not quite an air shot. Martin just barely like pressed spacebar there, but still it's a big direct that brought the force with the threat of the jump as well. Just a little bit of unawareness on the Basket, just not looking quite the right places. They're not looking down there, and suddenly it all turns around yet again. The Frenchies don't quite have the Uber yet. Olga's still building on 70%, but it is this huge advantage to take care of and a huge threat on the Basket that they need to be afraid of here. They can't afford to lose anyone here, or they don't have any chance of standing a last push.
it's pretty scary. They are building just a little bit, so Martin's got himself up to about 60%. Looks like the Frenchies are more intent on free taking, so it's actually not too bad for either team. Both teams can be fairly happy as long as the bus crew just delay the Frenchies a little bit. I mean, yeah, you know, they lose control a second, but... Oh, the stickies! Oh, that's so disastrous from Olga! I didn't even see them! Olga didn't see them! That's an absolute disaster situation, and so patiently played. Okay, Nasboy, 300 IQ! This guy's got it. He ain't just the pipe god running around fragging. Nah, he can do it all.
That is a huge difference maker yet again, and it's only stuff like this. It feels like that keeps the Bucks in this game, but they desperately need it, and it keeps on coming. The French is being caught unaware a few too many times here, and it gives the Bucks a huge chance. Everybody taking so much damage. Frenchies want to fight it.
The stickies! What's going on? No one's checking the corners anymore. What's happening? Another drop. Martin gets crushed along with Albert Ixie as well. This might just be Frenchies who's walking all the way. What's happening? Sticky bombs!
No one's paying attention as much as they need to today. You'd imagine Olga does. He's played Pocket Scout before. He knows what he needs to do to make his medic feel safe, but maybe no one else on the team does for him. And maybe that's the problem here, but it, again, on the Basket happens as well here, and what looked like a great opportunity to take second just turns around completely now. I were already back on Sniper Ixie, putting up any sort of gun at least before this push comes in to try and save the day, and saving is what this day needs right now, 'cause it's slowly falling apart here.
Okay, I'm absolutely baffled right now. Okay, we've managed to see an Uber get used, fantastic, but we do actually drop the demo here. So Olga is actually just all alone with Alien. He manages to just about get towards the right-hand side, but this is another little disaster push here. Not looking good here at all. That sniper's all important. Karnax, though, he doesn't really care. He's taking this 1v1. Ow! Ixie get absolutely owned. He's going to at least drag a couple of these players back. Actually, 4 players all the way back. No. Oh, I thought for a second he was going to get out there. No, didn't happen. Still, I mean, the bus crew is now back towards their last at 90%. They have an Uber advantage. They can look to start moving forward here, but a little bit of a delay from Karnax just causing them to have one less player is going to be pretty significant here. They can just keep on delaying things. Olga's on 65. Stickies again. Everyone's just running through sticky traps. Alpa's dying. Like, I don't know, dude. Can you even push at this point? It's a 30% disadvantage. I feel like Martin says no.
I wouldn't disagree either. You'd have such a long distance to cover to get like a successful win in the first place. You don't want to use early, obviously, otherwise you won't reach anything in time much successfully, but they have so much time to react and so much time to just dodge that Olga will get in the meantime, so it's not the wisest play to make to try to get out of last year, especially if they still have a tight scoreline. They're not down in rounds yet. They don't need to take that big of risk just yet, but the longer you stay here, the less comfortable it becomes over time, so sooner or later something needs to happen. Poison peaks here, very uninvolved, the sticky trap, and it shows, immediately gets dead on as well, and it at least was an obvious choice as to why, you know, Gullywash was picked by the Frenchies.
Oh, Alba, again! Olga, stop dropping! Stop it! Stop doing this! I don't know,
Anyway,
Alba's just hitting this stuff, dude. Alba's just like
I was saying, it shows why Gullywash was the French map pick of choice here, with how much more coordinated these last pushes were on full ahead. It just is such a difference. Quality. Ooh, Deli taking a big air shot, gets cleaned up by Memphis as well. Meanwhile, Raflo gets almost in for free onto Martin, barely cleaned up in time. Draw the backlines though. Does he have the time to go for the backup? I don't know. I don't think anyone can block for him. And he's still committed from anyway, so just a little bit of poor communication that he didn't try to just get in the force there. And he will at least trade out the kill, but it's still Bus Crew with the player advantage, he's just rolling into mid.
Yeah, they should just for a second be able to go forward. Nasboy doing that nice deep jump. Not for swag, that was purely to deny that sniper. So, you know, smart play there. Playing off what they need to play off here. Martin does still have his Uber, but it's only about 15% until Olga's going to be getting his own. So, another one of these situations where the bus crew can take a little bit, but they can't really go all the way. And with this sniper still up on the side of Karnax, he actually can start peeking and prodding a little bit, you know, already having an off class, kind of saves that little bit of time. It's impressive though, considering how decisive last game was. 17 minutes has happened, and not a single round has actually been won.
Yeah, and it still went like back and forth quite a bit. Like, sure, it was maybe a little bit of stalemate game, but we still traded positions quite a bit here. Granted, a lot of it was because of these like surprise plays that no one saw coming, but still, it's still close enough to where either team could do it. Granted, for the bus crew, it looks still a little bit more of a case of them just being able to just pull out the better player card every once in a while and just pop off a little bit more, where the Frenchies look a little bit more coordinated overall as a team. But sometimes that's just a whole difference you need, and Memphis is taking his chances there to do just that, not getting through double solly wall. Spammed by Nasboy almost gets the job done for him, but not quite enough. Grow and Draft barely staying alive, but they do. So not much coming out of this play just yet.
Yeah, you know, it's a classic optimism bomb, you know? Sometimes you just gotta jump and be like, what if I own him? It obviously didn't happen, but you're a soldier, you know? Sometimes you just gotta go for that kind of play. The difference between this situation and what we saw in Gullywash second, though, is the fact that the Frenchies aren't actually playing with a round advantage, right? There's no clock to tick down at this point. They do actually have to be a little bit proactive. We do see Karnax poking a little bit towards the flank, but that's really more for info than anything else, right? So he can peek a little bit, he can get a little bit of info. We do see Alba sniping. I'm not sure if anyone's spotted him or heard that shot as of yet. So, yep, Karnax is going to hear that. Going to get a little bit of damage, but actually he's going to overstay his welcome. Yeah, he gets cleaned up as well. So, one less scout to deny a soldier, and one less player to try and deny grass as Alba starts trying to peek along with Nasboy and Martin.
Yeah, let's see if they can take advantage of it. For now, it's not looking like it. Alba can spam fairly well. Olga's playing safe for now. And it just rinse and repeat run for Alba to rotate between sidelines, I would imagine, to take chances from different situations, hoping to catch somebody unaware and see what happens with it. Alien barely staying alive, not hitting the head that he was looking for, unfortunately. And it slows down the pace of the game to a crawl for sure, but maybe Bosco just needs a little breather here. They took so many like aggressive chances over the course of the last 2 maps here that maybe they just need to like get a quick stop to this, find one good play, more so than just throwing themselves at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really difficult on the French side. It doesn't seem like they're too keen to do anything. Like Alba is gonna keep on peeking. Like eventually he's gonna hit something, right? Like Alba's a good sniper. Like no one's gonna be positioning themselves perfectly 100% of the time. He's peeking a little bit towards the window. He just gets spammed down, so he's gonna have to back up a little bit. His damage towards Nasboy is fairly significant, but I mean, there's two players they got down pretty weak there. There may have been an opportunity for Soldier just to even like try and pogo through Saw, try and do something, but I don't know. I feel like the way that the Frenchies are doing things, it's kind of that situation where like eventually Alba's gonna hit something, or eventually the bus crew is gonna manage to like achieve something, just because like they're going for things.
Oh yeah, it's like the peak 7 thing, right? Like they play always like that around up, regardless of what the actual scoreline is. And if you're up, it's amazing, but they just don't have the conversion rate on the like set plays right now on Snakewater that they had on Gully. They easily could have been up here 2-0, I think, at this point, if they were just converting off the last pushes, but they just aren't. So it's still this risk of the Vasco just finding this one opportunity, like you said, with Alba just hitting some nuts shots, and then suddenly playing slow is not at all what they can afford to do anymore. And there's not that much time left anymore, so once a round gets scored, it gets scary.
It does start to get pretty scary. Alba once again trying to peek pretty deep towards grass. He's cleaning himself up some lovely little arrows, hitting some body shots as well, but still no real frags. I mean, I'm trying to think if I'm on the side of the bus crew, you know, what's the best thing to do? I kind of feel maybe they just want to try and go deeper, you know, dedicate a little bit more kind of resources towards grass. It seems like Alba, for the time being, he wants to peek just a little bit more towards the saw. Surely he's going to get cleaned up here. So much damage is being dealt. Yep. Going to be cleaning up that frag. So right now, the Frenchies, this is your opportunity. Karnax going down though. I mean, the second they get that one pick, that sniper down, they're going to lose a scout of their own. Are they just going to continue to kind of, you know, play safe? It looks like they're going to. The only saving grace really is perhaps Karnax can come on something like a spy or a sniper of his own. Like, you can't keep playing indefinitely without any kind of game plan.
Yeah, they need some sort of engagement here. The Basco has been like the more engaging team the majority of both games so far, and only now slow down quite a bit. But it looks like they want to rotate grass, so Basco can keep taking the bait. The question is if there's anything following up the bait for now on the French side, and it's at least coordinated spam onto the doorways going into grass, so they don't let anything take space for free, which at least secures them second. But again, it just doesn't keep up the momentum in any way, shape or form, so they will keep safe on second, but not much else.
Now we do see at least Dro and Raph, they peeked a little bit towards Saw. They managed to spam Nasboy out just a little bit, but it wasn't enough to secure a frag or any real kind of long-term position. As soon as these players were back up on the side of the bus crew, it was kind of business as usual. So there was some peeking, there was some poking. I'm a little bit surprised we've actually not seen any banners this game at all yet. A little bit
surprisingly. Granted, they only pulled it off like halfway through the game in the last game, and only on last as well, and it's a lot harder for Saudi to spam easily here, I want to say, just because most of the other team is just so much further away from you, so even if you hit something, it's just like 20 damage rockets, which means you need to hit like 18 of those to get a full banner charge outside of the conch, which was surprisingly the one that you see the most, but not in this game it seems. So yeah, I don't know, it doesn't seem like this place and time for it to shine here just yet. Alba wants to be the one shining here through all of this like dull stalemating where both teams look a little bit planless, and picks up the rifle yet again, so we'll see if he can manage at some point here. Been fairly unsuccessful today, found a few nice shots, obviously just earlier, but they were few and far between, and not much like cleanup shots between that either, where he just like picks up people outside of the medic. Even just any sort of kills help right now, I would say. Even like a Solly or anything like that, just makes it sacking easier, gives you more space to work with, and the Frenchies outside of last haven't pulled out the counter sniper here on Snakewater second once, so like any sort of more space Alba can take is just successfully giving him more space to work with.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally any frag at all. I almost feel like at this point, if somehow Alba can get an angle towards Delhi, like a demo frag is almost as good as a medic, really. Like, you get to take so much space if you're fast on grass that it forces, you know, at worst an equal trade, but usually you're going to manage to force that early. Oh, both soldiers on the French side, they can be jumping nice and deep, a lot of damage. Poison actually not getting cleaned up at all. Raf's the first frag going down. And suddenly Deli's going to get absolutely multi as well. He's sticky, super crucial, but he's going to get taken down as well. 2 frags on the side of each team now, and it looks like the bus crew, they're still moving towards grass. We actually see Olga committing all the way towards Saw. They're actually going to go for a full team back cap. Not even a back cap. They're going to go all the way back behind them onto grass. They're fully committing, but the bus crew's on point, dude. What are you doing? They're already starting to cap. Uber's much later being used by Martin, actually. No, I take that. With the flashing, it's barely anything at all. Completely ignore me. They're actually going to have to start backing up now. Poison, he's definitely losing his life. The little pipe from Naspo is going to pick up Dwo, so 1 player down a piece with this Alba slightly earlier frag. Yeah, the Frenchies, they got to start moving forward now, right? Like, they've been upstairs. They're bored of standing around. They just want to keep on moving through. Forcing Matthes off that high ground. Super important. They managed to get control of mid now. And with the capping, it's possible they can look to kind of keep going forward in a bit of an off Uber. 5 minutes left on the clock. It may be just his opportunities where you just start trying to take all the space that's given to you. It's very possible.
It was a really impressive wraparound play. I'm surprised it worked. They just cut off the exit fairly well. They forced them to take the Uber fight exactly like it happened. So great awareness by the Frenchies to take the fight like that. It certainly is a risk, but they calculated it well enough so it paid off, and they just need one more of those, and then they're sitting pretty. I want to say then they have a chance to get onto last again, assuming it is an advantage situation if Martin does not get out of here. Now it's like the reverse situation from before. It's the Frenchies on the driver's seat here, and it's just looking a little bit messy so far, taking chances for fake bombs into scout plays, not quite working out as well as intended, but an even trade is still not a disaster.
No, it's not a disaster for either team, but it's also not fantastic. It's one of those kind of like, I mean, it'll do. You know, Dwo's going to be peeking a little bit towards top right to at least prevent anyone from going towards that balcony position, but doesn't look like anyone's going to want to commit too much through there. We do see karnax sniping this time. Alba, he did have a bit of an opportunity if he wanted to go back and get everything sorted, but he's going to be staying on scout. Obviously, you know, the more you get kind of thinking about getting a sniper in these situations, even when you can get yourself little advantages, sometimes you just find yourself missing a scout. When you have to play fast because there's 4 minutes left to go, sometimes that sniper can be a little bit too slow. So I was a little bit surprised they've taken this long to go to it and are now doing it. It's a little bit scary though. It does look like the Frenchies can be moving towards grass. Both Matthes and Poison were playing close and actually still playing quite close. Really nice to completely deny them there. The fear from the side of the Frenchies. I don't know, that's a lot of respect to give to soldiers.
Yeah, we'll see if eventually the sniper can find success here. Like you said, surprising it only comes out now, but it just shows that it's a question of belief, right? And they believe, on both sides here, it seems that the sniper into second is better than the one out of second, it seems. And I can't blame them. It's probably true to a decent extent, because he would have to contest to a little bit awkward positions here, but, you know, as long as it works, whatever you choose is, you know, a fine play to make happen here. Now it's just on karnax now, though, to actually make that come true.
I'm trying to work out the last time when Nasboy died. I think he's on like a bigger kill streak because he's just... I think. Yeah, he's like... dude's gonna have like 3 deaths this entire game. He's literally just never dying, always getting his sticky trap kills. I just only picked up on the fact that it's that crazy. We have 2 minutes 50 left in the game. We really need to do something, guys. Like, this is one of those situations where if you can manage to get yourself just a little bit advantage, you know, it doesn't really matter if you win by 5 rounds or you win by 1. Like, a win is a win. Poison going weak is a good start to things, but the Frenchies, they don't really want to commit. Raph goes a little bit low, and the rest of the team's like, nah, bro, we're just going to back up. It's chill, we Gucci. No, you can't keep doing this. karnax peeking a little bit towards Saw, but this is just, like... I don't know, we need more, right? Maybe the player's karnax just like B-hops through Saw, tries to get something onto Martin, you know? Maybe the play is to just like run him in, have him die, go for some weird trade, like whatever, right? But it needs to be something, there needs to be some kind of play. You can't not do a play.
Like, even if I'm Bosco here and still win this somehow, I still be worried. Like, this is their map pick. This is the one map of the, I don't know how many were left at that point in the map picking process, that they felt most comfortable on. I'd be worried for Sunshine even if they were to clutch this one out, because this is not looking like the strongest performance out of anything we've seen from them recently, including Lance, so it's not looking too pretty, and now the threat of the sniper is putting them into like the much more uncomfortable position here. karnax just takes opportunities.
Oh, he goes in! Oh, he only hits the body shot. If he had hit that, I would have probably screamed and upset my neighbours, but he didn't. It didn't quite happen. Now, the bus crew, this is one of those moments where it's a little bit all or nothing. It's 90 seconds on the clock. Now, with the way that everything is going, it's got to be pretty crucial. They're trying to get onto Raph. Actually, I believe that was a nice little arrow there from Olga. They're actually going to be picking up Alba and Ixie. There's no scouts on the side of bus crew. Oh
yeah, so
my god, this is so scary.
Everybody has to take opportunity of this so much. Poison is behind them, but if they're well, it shouldn't be much of a threat. They just try forward.
Nasboy's just jumping in! Nasboy's just walked all the way in. He's trying to get on the Olga. He does manage to force him, but he loses his life. This is Martin with an Uber, and Mathers playing towards last. We are seeing the scout spawn. Albert is on the heavy as well, but it's still scary. There is an opportunity for the Frenchies to walk in, force the Uber, and perhaps go for a bit of a repush. Mathers is trying to jump a little bit. He's getting cleaned up nice and easy. Uber does get used now by Martin, and Frenchies just need to back. They need to back all the way. 50 seconds, plenty of time here. They can't really afford to get their Uber, but if they can get their players and start moving forward, one frag could be all they need just to open up these doorways and start moving, though. 40 seconds, they can't build, they need to go.
Yeah, with this little time left, getting the Uber out of Martin in time without losing anyone is just incredible. This is the only chance they'll get at this point, and if this works, it's just over. And there's nothing to do, they can't just full commit to this. 27 seconds left on the clock, enough to get some kills, play point, and hopefully just explode on them.
This is scary. They're doing it, they're going straight to the shutter, there's no real sticky jump. It's actually going to be pretty disastrous, yep. We do have Stickies towards point, a gun and a heavy to deal with. Stickies now just about being moved. The gun has gone down. No one's playing towards the point. It's only 10 seconds. They're getting the frag zones. It's actually Delhi all the way towards point. These pipes from Nasboy looking so good. And it's actually all on Karnax. Oh my god, Poison's so weak. Nasboy's so weak. But the Stickies and the time limit combining. That's going to be a 0-0.
Yeah, this is something else, right? Like, they play so passive for so long, and it's honestly just more so the Frenchies messing up every single last opportunity they had, more so than anything else that makes this game go the pace it is. Right, sure, you can blame the team for having these stalemates that they can't be on either side deal with as long as you want, but the Frenchies had all the opportunities to just run away with this game on Busku's map pick, but they just couldn't convert of it 3 times, I believe, in total here.
That's kind of crazy, right? Like, there was some serious stalemating, there was some serious back and forth. The fact that neither team could really find that final piece to actually kind of secure around, it's kind of crazy. They definitely like both teams, they look more uncomfortable. They almost look quite scared of each other, you know? Like, granted, the bus crew, they were far more active, but they still didn't really manage to find any success. And it almost feels like just a completely different Karnax team to what we were looking at last map. Last map, they were so much more confident. You know, everything they did was kind of with such definite purpose, you know? Even their holds, when they were kind of rounds up, it felt like they were in so much more secure position. And this map, I don't know, maybe it comes down to map knowledge. Maybe this is why they didn't want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Gullywash was a big difference in terms of quality for Karnax here, so it's not surprising that it went worse necessarily, but yeah, like you said, the coordination was still there, but the quality of what they coordinated was a lot different and a lot more just dedicated to just playing safe and not letting anything bad happen more so than creating any opportunities to begin with, where the playmaking was clearly a lot better on the first map. So it's going to be awkward for the Golden Cap, and the big mid-fight win could just win it all straight away, especially for the Basque, who really didn't have any good last push opportunities to begin with in this game. Showing off that they can do it just this once is going to make all the difference here.
What are you thinking right now? Do you think we're going to see some massive, like, Olga 300 IQ big brain strat where they run, like, crits heavy to mid or something? Right? Like, Olga is the absolute king of, like, making these TFTV posts where he comes up with, like, these nutty ideas, but doesn't actually put them into practice. Yeah,
and then it's Seven just doing it and winning land, so...
Exactly. I'm saying, like, if there's a time to show it, right, it's going to be right here, right now. If they manage to own a mid off that and just go straight last after a 30-minute 0-0, that's going to be, like, the swaggest way of ending this series. And the thing is, you kind of almost got to play into the fact that the bus crew right now are going to be thinking, like, this is actually going to come down to potentially one mid-fight, potentially just a couple whiffed shots, which could, you know, completely deny them the opportunity of making Prem this season.
Yeah, it's all on this round to decide how the rest of this evening will go, and for... to some extent, the rest of the season, like you said, this could be over in 3 minutes, it could be over in another 15, and then another map afterwards. It's going to be interesting to see how teams approach this Golden Cap. There's like, you can't go into this like one of two mindsets, right? I think you approached the first one already, which is just like bust out the weird stuff, bust out the like stuff that no one can really predict as well. Maybe go like balls to the wall aggressive and just take your chances. And if you run away successfully, then you are doing so very much confidently with a great chance of pushing into last. Or you can play super safe and basically go into what we had just seen the last 30 minutes, which is like a really safe mid-fight into making sure, at the very least, my own medic won't die here, and just try to not take many great risks, which, by the looks of it, is what both teams want to be doing here on this map, but for a mid-fight, you never know.
It's always that kind of, that weird middle ground where, like, if you commit fully forward, it can be great because you can win, but then sometimes you get in those situations where you lose your med early, you panic, you turn, then suddenly everyone dies, and you just lose that golden cap instantly. It's scary, but I mean, I guess we'll see a resolution pretty quickly because this is it. We're going to be going live here. This is potentially our second and maybe final map. This is Golden Cap here, and the Frenchies' opportunities to possibly win themselves a beautiful little ticket into Premiership in this ETF2L Season 34. So, nothing crazy. There's no heavy crits to mid as far as I can see, so it's going to be just a little bit standard here. Poison taking some early aggression up top. Last time we saw this, Delhi just more or less walked forward, got the beam, started trying to take some position here. This time, it looks like the exact same thing is going to happen. Nice deep bomb from Raph, gets some good damage towards Nasboy, but actually not quite securing the frag. Now the damage is looking good for these pipes from Delhi. So crucial. Surely he's going to be going down, almost killing Alba as well. This is a good opportunity for the Frenchies. They're picking up Alba as well. It's scary, and I think the bus crew are feeling the fear right now. They're backing towards second. They got to keep Man alive.
Yeah, really passive mid of bus crew, and the Frenchies taking their chances here, which is kind of the opposite of what Gullywash was basically all about. But it seems to be working out just fine. The Solly's beefed a few rockets on the French side, but clearly Delhi wasn't, so cleans up for the rest of his team, enables them to take mid. Not much else, I believe. There's no real momentum into second in play here right now, so we're back to what we've seen before, and
yeah, we were here
doing so
in
full force. Yeah, they're back in their
this.
comfort zone at the very least. You know, at least they're not like scared anymore. They're back to what they know.
Worst case scenario, there's only about 30 minutes more, and technically, actually no, the round time would go off, so it isn't even like the Frenchies can just stand around. Unlucky boys. Okay,
yeah, so it's like
you
9 minutes.
More active. Exactly. Okay, right. So Frank's getting traded. One scout missing on each team. Getting a little bit of spam towards a soldier as well. So I mean, whenever you're in a situation where there's only one scout, that positioning is going to be super important, because if if that one scout somehow misses the soldier jumping, it can be pretty disastrous. We are seeing Ixie playing a little bit further away from his medic. Martin's just peeking slightly more towards this choke point. Ooh, Poison getting a cheeky little frag here. We actually see, yeah, Raph jumping all the way towards point. So now, Frenchies don't have a single soldier in the game. This surely should be a good opportunity for Bus Crew. They could possibly even start looking to take things just a bit for free. They can get through these stickies. It's almost a bit of a scary trade here with these spawners not quite up on the side of the Frenchies.
Yeah, but they're taking the chance with Bus Crew. They want to get in here, they want to get a force out. Martin still has to use first, so Olga, however, very weak post Uber, has to be careful here of anything hitting him, assuming something can get into position. So far, just about getting out for Bus Crew in the first place down. They're barely getting out back onto grass, and that is pretty much the end of that. No one really able to take any position, so exchange happens, but mostly just for exchange's sake. Couldn't find anything to play off there in the middle of the UA fight, and both teams just scraping away yet again.
Yeah, they're going to be chilling a little bit towards their own points now. This is actually, it was just for a second there, perfectly equal. But yeah, it's going to be effectively equal at this point. Both teams are going to be careful just to build up their own Uber, because you never want to be in that situation where the other team builds better than you and you somehow lose like something crucial off it. So both medics are going to be just a little bit keen on getting that sorted. So I would imagine we have about 30% until we see anything too crazy happening. It's actually Olga and his boys, they're looking to play super close, perhaps go just a little bit off Uber, or perhaps on the dot, but they don't really realize that they don't actually have their own Uber yet. Alien just runs in, pure optimism, he loses his life. Okay, that's one scout down, and the Bus Crew, they want to start trying to take some position off this. Saw's already theirs. Nasboy getting a couple little stickies up, and Alba is starting to move through up top left. We do see Poison as well jumping nice and deep, gets all this position on the high ground.
So early to save Alba though, they get such a worst out of this, and Poison dies as well. This is looking really dire for them. The only thing they have going for them is Olga being incredibly weak, posted about so much damage on the combo. Martin incredibly weak. Karnax wants to just get through everybody, settles with some damage with Nasboy, and trying to stay alive. It won't happen, and going down as well. Actually makes this look a lot worse now for the Frenchies, just due to one unfortunate chase on the French side here.
That's pretty scary. I mean, that full commit onto Nasboy, losing just one extra player, might be everything that a Bus Crew needs. Now they're trying to move through all the way top left. They force the soldier away already. If they can get through this little doorway, it could be looking good. But I mean, Ellie's kind of on it. Every doorway they start trying to go through. Now, Saw's open. They fractionally turn away. Poison's trying to commit through. It's scary though. Like, how can you keep going through? There's constantly stickies there. We get hitting pipes towards Nasboy as well. Nasboy, yeah, he's gonna die. Alba's dead. Oh my god, this is scary. Martin's getting directed as well. It's these middle grounds. They're just actually getting wiped. What's happening, Tom? How did that happen?
I don't even know. The Uber fight was one thing, and it just was dead even afterwards. But the Bus Crew won't.
Is that it? Is that how the game ends? No!
It has to be, right? How can you beat this at this point? They cap second. People will spawn to block in time, but Olga just has the Uber, and no one even dives into the sack whip in the end. So just well aware on the French side here on where people are positioned in this like messy try to recontest from Saw, and they got people into the right places, denying people from Saw and got people behind them through window as well, or catwalk, I don't remember, but Raf popped up behind them, and there was nowhere for Martin and Co to run at that point anymore. They were completely pincered. They just had to commit forward, and it couldn't go well either way. So one little bit of awareness on the French side, and it's just currency at like one good play, and that was it. And there were short moments for the basket where they just were able to be the better players on the server, but ultimately the Frenchies come out on top as the better team regardless.
Yeah, it's crazy when you have like a 40-minute game which comes down to just one little situation where it felt like there was one position, right, where Poison was split from his medic. So Poison then wanted to commit. He jumps in. He's just a soldier. He dies. Nasboy heard that call, so Nasboy tries to commit. And then suddenly, one by one, you're getting taken apart. Like, oh, it's such a sad way to lose the game, but, credit where it's due. Bus Crew are some incredible players. They didn't always look perfect, and they didn't quite, inch things out, but I firmly believe in their run through Div 1 this season, and obviously we are going to be seeing the return of the Frenchies into Prem. They've been your classic 8th place team for a little bit, but maybe this season they can look just a little bit more confident, a little bit more together, and they've been showing it at least on Gullywash and just a little bit more on Snakewater, so it'll be interesting to see how their season goes.
Yeah, Dowie claimed to be, but Olga was the true gatekeeper of Prem all along, it seems, for now 3 seasons straight. Just making sure that no one gets into his premiership spot. Let's see if it is a better one than 8th this season. It's not going to be any better or easier competition, I should say, than in any previous one. They will be joined by, let me just pull up so I don't make a mistake here, joined by, and I'm thinking teams are still like slightly subject to change on who's on the roster, what names they're going to go by. I hear rumors, but I'm not going to say anything. 7, Ascent, top 5, and not Faint anymore, actually. That means it's official now, I guess. Faint is just going by whatever name they find now, but it is the same roster. Aura Electro and Rekuzan winning Div 1 the previous season, as well as now karnax back at it again in Premiership.
It's gonna be interesting to see exactly how it's gonna go. There's always kind of two mindsets after LAN, You're either like, oh yeah, LAN was awesome, that was cool, and then you're gonna kind of do whatever. Then sometimes people are like, oh dude, LAN was awesome, that's like absolutely own, and I think this is gonna be looking like a pretty good season. I think we may have one person for an interview. I'm going to try to remember. That's usually Olga, is it not?
Yes, that's
name?
Olga.
Excellent. Okay, I do believe we may be able to bring in Olga, have a little cheeky chat with him, see how it's going. Obviously, congratulations on winning in one commanding and one very, very close map. Obviously, returning to Prem. How are you feeling?
Well, I guess that's maybe the 3rd or 4th time we achieved to win Prem playoff. I guess we were veterans in that matter. But yeah,
consistency,
Yeah. The gatekeepers.
The true gatekeepers,
Anyway, how are you feeling with the games? Obviously, let's start with Gullywash. Gullywash being a lot more in your favor, being a 3-0, a lot more went right in a lot of situations for you. How did you guys feel about that? How were things approached in comparison to this?
Well, on Gullywash we're pretty confident as it's our best map. It was our pick, and we have really good strats that no one seems to counter. So yeah, that's great. And about Snakewater, I dropped 3 times, I think. It was great.
Yeah, that did happen. That did definitely happen. But there's such thing as winning with style.
Yeah.
Obviously, in terms of your roster, it's pretty kind of significant changes. As much as you've only got one player difference, you obviously swapped around a couple more roles. Obviously, yourself now moving on to medic. Is it true that you just try to play all the classes, just to have some fun?
Well, not really. On first, I truly love to play medic. I always played medic in my life. Before I was a soldier, and I just changed because my soldier was not good enough. But the thing about this roster now is that basically we had no med, so we had to try to find one. But I was the only one that can play with alien. So,
okay.
Problem for everybody, I think.
So I just go to med, and we found Delhi, who is a really capable demoman.
What are you thinking in terms of this roster compared to last season? Obviously, you kind of you've always been the little fish in the big boy Prem. As much as you you keep earning your spots, it's it's difficult to kind of contest some of these top teams. Do you think this season's roster might just be a little bit stronger? You might be able to have a bit of a stronger performance, start looking towards that top 4 maybe.
Yeah. In my opinion, we have the best roster that we have in a long time. Like having Daily and Demoman is really helpful, like in mini DM fight. So yeah, feeling pretty confident to go for maybe a 5th place, I would say. I don't think we can make it to playoff, but I mean, who knows? Like last season we
trying
lost
to get 5th while Aura exists, it's ambitious.
You gotta set your goals somewhere. You gotta believe in yourself a little bit. Yeah, right. Dom, have you got yourself any more questions?
No, just like I guess just like we could talk about Gully for a little bit. Just like a second about Snakewater, which obviously was a lot different, a lot slower, and I think the main thing that was apparent to me was like your last pushes, especially, were looking a lot worse than on Gullywash.
Yeah.
Is that like something that has been like an issue for a while? Is it something that like it just desperately needs to be looked at? Like, what's your opinion for this game and Snakewater in general?
Well, I guess like that's also due to the fact that I dropped like 3 times, obviously. But I mean, like we're not that strong on Snakewater. Like we have strong habits, but we don't have like really good strats as we have on Gullywash. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and the one thing that actually also comes to mind, which I guess is like your pet strat for a long time now, but the banner's coming out on Gullywash and coming out clutch as well with the few successes you had with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's something you obviously like doing on your soldier as well, but it seems like you got everybody in the team on board with it quite as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's secret. I can't talk about it. But
Oh, so you're saying we're gonna have some spicier plays. I do remember reading your very in-depth post about like the pocket heavy strats. A little bit disappointed not to see any of that just yet. I mean, over the course of the season, surely we're gonna find some excuse to start running it, yeah?
Well, I don't think so. Like, I do have like a lot of strats, but like many of them, Raph just don't want to use it.
Wow, throwing Raph under the bus.
Well, yeah. I mean, we saw
surely
that
he can't argue with that.
Okay, I see. This is Raph's fault. At least we're gonna assign some blame. We can work out who's the one throwing. Right. Well, unless there's anything else we want to bring up just yet, we can always go ahead to some shout-outs and let people go on with the rest of their night, yeah? Okay, well, then we will give the first shout-out to our wonderful guest, Mr. Olga. Who do you want to show some love to?
Well, first you guys for casting. And also, like, all the people in the chat that has been watching the game. I know it has been really slow, but in the end, I mean, we won. Shout out to my team, obviously. Shout out to Delhi for being in Prem now. And shout out to Yak because he wishes me good luck for this match.
Fair play. Very, very nice one. Good little lad. Dumb. How about you? Any shouts?
Shoutouts to both the teams for being very cooperative, which is not the standard in Premiership for me to work with, so that's always nice when I know things ahead of time. So that's always nice. Shoutouts to my boys, about to maybe choke Mid Highlander. Who knows? Anything can happen. It's Mid Highlander. No one knows what's happening at any moment, so who knows? And also the boys for hopefully finalizing the roster for the 6th season, which is hopefully a lot more interesting than Mid Highlander. So I actually have something to watch again.
Sounds pretty good. Well, I will throw out some last little shout outs to obviously the bus crew and karnax Frenchies. It was a little bit slow at times, but I still enjoyed some of the creativity, some of the stuff we saw, and obviously this is just the start of things. The season I believe starts next Monday, so anyone who's looking to sign yourself up, do it now. Do it like literally right now. Go to ETF2L right now. Sign yourself up because you do not have much time left.
2 days, in fact.
2 days, yeah, exactly. See, get on it. Apart from that, I'm going to shout out, people in chat, and obviously the French conglomerate for showing their love as well. Other than that, I mean, I'm just going to say keep an eye out for everything at TFTV because we're about to obviously start the season.
I have one more very important question, actually. Olga.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
What is you and your team's opinion on Reckoner?
Reckoner? Ooh. Well, I mean, it's been a really long time that we last played Reckoner. I think the last time we played Reckoner it was in season 27
Yeah, it was like
when we had the
before
grand final. Yeah,
I 61, I think. Yeah.
but I mean, like it's a really great map, and I'm really glad that that man's out.
That proves my theory right, and with
That
that, we
is your
can
theory.
head off into the night. So see you everybody at most recent next Monday.
Bicky bombs.